Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert, shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women cope with narcissism. So, if it means that you've got it at work, if you're dealing with it at home, if you've been dealing with it for decades, or if you've just run into it recently, then you probably are struggling because dealing with narcissists in your life are extremely difficult. Dealing with toxic people who don't manage their own emotions is very, very difficult. So you've probably been dealing with this stuff in silence because, why would you ever want to tell anybody that you're being emotionally or verbally or physically abused? Either when you were a child and you couldn't tell anybody because you couldn't trust anybody because who would stand up to the abusers? And even then, they usually didn't, did they? You would tell somebody and it would turn into a big uh, victimizing thing again. And then years go by, you do therapy, you get help, or maybe you don't. Maybe you were fine, maybe you just sort of bumped along. And then you ran into somebody that could see that you would allow them to be who they wanted to be. And because they haven't started to learn how to deal with their own emotions and don't know enough about themselves, it ends up pretty toxic. A narcissist can be on one side of the spectrum or the other. It could be either because they are partially autistic, engineers, scientists, things like that, or it can be the other side where they are ADD or borderline personality or bipolar or ADHD. Those things cause the emotional outbursts. So here you are stuck with an irrational person, usually a man, not always, could be mothers or sisters or whatever, who refuses to even look at themselves enough that they can stop victimizing you. So the next step in your life is to figure out, and I'm here to help, how to keep yourself sane and get into the healthiest space possible so that you can make good decisions. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to leave the situation. A lot of times, a narcissist codependent relationship is based on the dynamics, based on the beliefs that you have, or the habits, or the ways that you communicate, or the old wounds. And once you start to get rid of the emotional things that trigger you, when you start to get your needs met in the ways that you need them met, when you start to nourish and love and respect yourself, what happens is you evolve. And this is the beauty of having a narcissist in your life, is because they are so painful to have around that you have no choice to either self-destruct, which you've probably been doing for a while, physically, mentally, or emotionally, or figure it out. And when you figure it out, what it does is it takes you to a happier place of being, a more successful place, a more peaceful place, a place that's more rational, that's more graceful, that life works better for you. Why? Because we stopped looking at what was making us, blaming other things that made us feel this way. And we started to say, you know what, this isn't going to stop. I'm the one who has to make the change. So here's one of my favorite changes. It's called EFT. Now, maybe you've heard of it. It's emotional freedom technique. Now, you would think, because I was in Asian medicine and because I love acupressure points and because, I love this stuff, that I would be a natural, lover of EFT, that I would love it. But see, here's the problem. Many times when we are in narcissistic relationships, we have to develop a confidence level, an anger level, a protection, a shell of some sort. And what that can do is that can limit us from seeing tools that are around us. And so EFT for me, it took me a long time to really embrace that. It took a good friend who who took the time to walk me through it and be like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is when I use it. This is how I use it. And it's been just wonderful for me in keeping me in that place that I want to be in so that I don't waste my life being emotionally hijacked by a narcissist, because there's nothing worse with than a narcissist blowing up and they feel better and you're collateral damage that's now down for 3 or 4 days. Because you're just so emotionally hijacked by being, beaten verbally and energetically. So that tends to be what happens. It's time to start taking your power back. And so she introduced me to someone called Brad Yates. Let's see if I can pull him up. Brad Yates, EFT. She just Googles it. And when it comes up, then I'll do a split screen. And then you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay. My my Wi-Fi is a little goofy here just because I live in the woods. All right, so let's see if I can share my screen. Haha. Here we go. Share. Bum, bum, bum. Right here. Okay, so I looked up Brad Yates EFT, and he's a very nice man, and he actually has a fun little sense of humor. So when you get it, you can just go to videos, um, or you can find one of the videos that you like, and you can put in anxiety. You can put in feeling a lack of control. You can put in being different. You can put in pretty much anything that you want. Let's say releasing emotional pain. This one's is 10 minutes, but that's okay. We'll see if it'll come up on my computer, not with my low limited Wi-Fi. So the thing I like about, okay, we'll switch back to me. Dun, 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 dun. All right. The thing that I like about Brad Yates' work is that it's like a tap along. It's like a sing along. Do you remember those videos where they'd have the words on the bottom and the ball would bounce, on the words, and that's how you ended up learning, how to spell words and how to read different languages. That was a great opportunity to do that. The nice thing with Brad Yates stuff is that it's a tap along. So all you have to do is take 8 or 9 minutes in the morning or at lunch or in your car or at a stoplight or anywhere you want with any emotion. So for me, mornings have always been a struggle, and I'll have a wide variety of emotions in the morning. But what I can do now is I take 8 or 10 minutes and I pick an emotion, or I pick a thing that I want to work through. And then I'm typing in Brad Yates, EFT, let's say anxiety or sadness or frustration or overwhelm or pain or old pain or hurt, whatever you want. The guy's done like thousands of videos. So, there's stuff that you can find that will absolutely work. And so you say, oh, I'm feeling so angry today. Then you would type in Brad Yates EFT anger, and videos would come up around the topic of anger. And then you can do this. So I'll split the screen. I'll share the screen again. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, here we go. So it's a nice little tap along.
So I was watching a show the other night and seeing examples of man's inhumanity to man, and thinking about the emotional pain that's at the root of that, and thinking, let's just keep clearing that out. That would be a good thing, for ourselves personally, to clear the emotional pain that not only doesn't feel good, but also, sometimes compels us to do harm, maybe not intentionally, but just without even thinking. And also, since everything's energy and we're all connected, as we do this clearing, then we're clearing the collective whole. So that seems like a good thing. So still, I just have to be aware of what emotional pain is there, whether it feels personal, whether it's your own, or whether it's just feeling in the middle of all the emotional pain that's all around. Taking full responsibility for your own well-being.
Taking full responsibility for your own well-being.
Even though I feel this emotional pain.
Even though I feel this emotional pain.
I choose to love and accept myself.
I choose to love and accept myself.
Even though I feel this emotional pain.
Even though I feel this emotional pain.
I choose to love and honor myself.
I choose to love and honor myself.
Even though I feel this emotional pain.
Even though I feel this emotional pain.
There are things inside of me.
There are things inside of me.
That don't feel good.
That don't feel good.
And I see people outside of me
And I see people outside of me
who apparently don't feel good.
who apparently don't feel good.
And even though I feel this emotional pain,
And even though I feel this emotional pain,
I choose to deeply and completely
I choose to deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself
love, honor, and accept myself
and all the people in my life
and all the people in my life
who have taught me to feel this pain.
who've taught me to feel this pain. Okay, I'm going to pause him. All right. So the cool thing about Brad Yates is you don't even have to be emotionally engaged. That system online, you are doing something, you're doing a physical movement. So that's getting that part of you online. You're tapping different acupressure points, and acupressure points are parts of your body that are like a different type of nervous system. It's a different type of system, which they have proof for. I mean, they've been studying it for a long time, and it's Asian medicine. That's also been around for thousands and thousands of years. But science has started to catch up, and they actually see the meridian system, and they can find the different acupressure points. And these points are related to different thoughts, feelings, and ideas. So what doing an EFT session with Brad for 8 or 9 minutes does is it takes that emotional charge that we have and it gets it out of us. So it takes our amygdala and it gets it offline and it puts it back online. You know, it breaks that pain pattern. So it goes from no to, oh, I see how this works. So yesterday we talked about connecting, you know, your head brain and your heart brain and your gut brain. And we did a great exercise with that. When you add in the tapping piece, then you can start clearing your emotions in a pretty easy way without suffering through them. You don't have to even pay a lot of attention to the words. You just have to follow along, just like the little bouncing ball, and it does what it needs to do. And what it does is it takes you from a high level of arousal to a low level of arousal. And not only that, it keeps it in check so that when a narcissist comes and blindsides you while you're, you know, not paying attention, while you're grocery shopping, you already have cleared a lot of emotion. And so there isn't as much for them to trigger. You know, every time we do this, it's like polishing a mirror. It's like cleaning something up. And when we clean it up, it means that it's not in our system anymore. It's not controlling us. And so if we don't have these latent, suppressed, buried emotions of resentment and anger and conflict and confusion and frustration, if we don't have that because we've been clearing it and doing our work, then a narcissist can come at us and start being in a nutty place. And we've been linking our head brain and our heart brain and our gut brain, so they're working together. And they say, oh, he's coming from a difficult place. And because we're not having an emotional charge, our amygdala is staying out of the equation. We're able to be like, oh, wow, what do I want to do about that? You're able to stay grounded. You're able to stay present. But the only way we can do these things is if we make them habits that you do every morning, that you reserve for yourself. Maybe it's not every morning. Maybe it's like 3 times a week. But it's time for you to fill your well so that you can not be completely stressed out and sick from a narcissist. And the more you do this, the more balanced you'll feel, the healthier you'll get, the clearer you'll see things, the better you'll be able to navigate. And you will stop hating the fact that a narcissist can control how you feel at any moment. Okay? So if you feel stuck with this stuff, let me know. We've got this great, wonderful group. We're starting Tuesday nights. It's a continuation of a group that we're just ending, and we're expanding it a little bit and letting people join in. It's a wonderful, not only support group, but coaching and mastermind and email support in between, and the live streams and weekly calls. It's a whole wonderful system to get you from where you're at, which is stuck, trying to do it by yourself, to where you need to be, which is part of a community. And you are one of those strong, healthy, balanced, wise people in the community. That's where we want to get you. Okay. So reach out and we will get you the link, we'll get you the information, and you can see whether it's something you want to do or not. Okay. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to share this with people. It's important that we get this stuff out there. And I'll talk to you later. Okay.